Hi, my name is Nebuchadnezzar. This is the 5th video in the series Fall of Babylon. Since the time Ahu came into being, he has been trying to control the most fertile lands of the world, because fertile lands are a source of power. This day he controls Gog, Azar, or Harut, and Magog, Azael, or Marut. These two nations are the two horns of the bull, Dhul Kornaini. The devil's objective is to make you first have faith that there is no hell, that the devil does not exist. The life on Tiamat, now called planet Earth, is all about the love of money. It is narrated that the first two coins, the dirham and the dinar, were made under the auspices of Nimrod, carved in gold and silver respectively. He intentionally named the second coin dinar and her institutional religions, because he wanted people to worship money instead of Alunel, the Most High. And after molding these two coins, the dirham and the dinar, Shaitan kissed both these coins and put them to his eyes, gold on the right, silver on the left, while saying, I shall gain control of the righteous and the unrighteous with these two objects. He thanked Nimrod for his ingenious idea. The Tamahu cannot find peace on Tiamat, for they are the sons of Canaan. And Azazel has made his home originally on Titan, the planet of Saturn, for he is not of this planet and extraterrestrial. They are the synagogues of Satan, for they roam Tiamat, now called planet Earth, spreading their false beliefs. Again, one of our servants, Jeremiah, Al-Qust, tells you that Nebuchadnezzar was a king of Babylon. In the scripture of Jeremiah 27th degree, the 6th verse, it says, and you have I Nathan given all these Eretz, whole earth, into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the ruler of Babylon, my Arabad servant, and the Chai, living beasts of the Saudi outer field, have I given to him also as Arabad to serve him. If you remember the scripture of the Genesis, the 9th degree, the 25th verse, where it says, and Noah, son of Lamech, said to Ham, the Awrar, the curse, will be upon your son. Canaan the albino will become a leper, and Ehbed, slave, Abd of slaves, he will be to his brothers, the Shemites, and the Japhethites, the non-albinos. Meaning that first, you will serve him, and then he will serve you. For when the time comes, when you will awaken back to the reality of who you are, and you will reign on your throne of glory, then he shall serve you. Like the 4 beasts on the 4 corners that bow down to the 24 elders before Alunel, the Most High. It says in the scripture of Revelation, the 3rd degree and the 9th verse, this is it. I, Messiah Jesus, will give you will give you the community of Halal, the physical evil one, reptilian Shaitan, the state of Israel, who says that they are Judah, and they are not Judah, but are liars. This is it. I will make them to come worship at your feet, so that they will know that surely I loved you. Our servant Yeshua, also called Tammuz, who received the scroll of Revelation, spoke unto you, saying, Behold, I will make them the synagogue of Shaitan, which say they are of the tribe of Judah and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship before your feet, to know that I loved you. So Jeremiah wrote in the scripture, all the evil that shall come upon Babylon, even all these words that were written against Babylon. Then shall you say, O Master, you have spoken against this place, to cut it off. Then none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast. Today, Iraq, the mighty ruins of mighty Babylon, is surrounded by people seeking to unfold the past. On these ancient edifices are wild animals and four-footed serpents inlaid in stone. But the beast of the field, the Tamahu, the Canaanite, as he is commonly called, and human himself, are no more, nor will they be again. The vestiges of Babylon depict all types of creatures as he stands there in the midst of them. And another one of our enlightened servants spoke to you concerning this. His name is Daniel. The 4th degree, the 32nd verse. They shall drive you from men, and your dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make you eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over you until you know that the Most High rule in the kingdom of men, and give to whomever he will. Nebuchadnezzar was to dwell with the beasts of the field. In Babylon, the Tamahu served him, and he lived with him in his quarters while he was insane. They would make him eat grass like oxen. They would force him to remain in the open field without shelter from the sometimes austere elements at shadow hour. For this was their dwelling place. And this is exactly what the beast of the field does to you today. He makes you eat all kinds of filth and things that animals should only eat. He has you living in conditions that are unfavorable to human nature. Jeremiah foretold that the beasts of the field were to be given to Nebuchadnezzar to serve him. His Tamahu servants cared for him day and shadow hour, as they did Nimrod, and they undoubtedly protected him, as during his 7 years of madness, from enemies who would have slain and killed him and seized his kingdom, Babylon. The story does not end sadly. The ruler Nebuchadnezzar, his sanity was restored to him by the grace of Alun El, the Most High, and this is what he said in the scroll of Daniel, the 4th degree, the 36th verse. At the same time, my reason returned unto me, and for the glory of my kingdom, my honor and brightness returned unto me, and I was established in my kingdom, and excellent majesty was added to me. All the same time, my reason returned to me, and my counselor and my majesty was added unto me. The ruler had arrived, and my counselor and my rebound princes sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom, and an excellent majesty was added unto me. The ruler had arrived at the height of his spiritual understanding following his humbling experience, and he left this record for all to read. Now, I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise, extol, and honor Anu, the ruler, all whose works are truth. His ways are judgment, and those that walk in pride. Using the scriptures that have been sent down to you and brought and delivered to you, we have warned you of his physical manifestation on the earth. We, speaking, have told you of his falling from grace. So be ever watchful, be ever so watchful of him. He takes many forms, but you were created and fashioned in our likeness. As mentioned, one of Babylon's most memorable kings was King Nebuchadnezzar. Under his empire, the Israelites would be carried off into captivity. The Babylonians invaded the Israelites several times, each time taking more captives. The temple in Jerusalem was finally destroyed in 587 BC. It was King Nebuchadnezzar that the prophet Daniel was sent to warn of his imminent downfall. The Babylonian Empire swathed desolation of its glory and power when it was invaded by Alexander the Great, but first it would be dominated by the Persians. After Nimrod, the Babylonian Empire was to be ruled by the Medo-Persian kingdom. King Cyrus reigned 7 years, after which he was succeeded by his son, who reigned 7 years until 522 BC, followed by the reign of 10 kings, monarchs. The 10th king was overthrown by Alexander the Great in 331 BC, and the third kingdom of brass began to bear rule over the earth, as prophesied by prophet Daniel 2:29. And I quote, "As for thee, O king, thy thought came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter? And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass." The vision of the 8th chapter of the book of Daniel clearly defines how the empire of Alexander the Great would rise out of the Medo-Persian Empire. The two horns of the ram represented the two nationalities which make up the empire, Media and Persia, of which Persia was the leading division. The direction in which the ram pushed showed the conquests of the Medo-Persian Empire of their surrounding lands. Their kingdom grew to consist of 127 provinces, which extended from Ethiopia to India. Alexander the Great, the rough goat, came from the west, Greece's west of Persia, and conquered the first world empire. He was so swift and skillful in battle that it is said that the goat touched not the ground. Daniel 8:21 mentions a notable horn between the eyes of the ram, which also refers to Alexander the Great. In 321 BC, the two horns were broken. The Persian Empire collapsed after the battle in the plains of Arabella in Syria was lost to the Greeks. In the book of Daniel 8:3-8, it speaks of both the ram and the goat. These animals are defined in the American Heritage Dictionary as follows: ram, a male goat, the male of numerous small antelopes, to strike with violence. Goat, any of various horned, bearded, ruminant mammals of the genus Capra, originally of mountainous regions of the old world. So here in the book of Daniel chapter 8, the ram and the goat are locked in battle. Two of the devil's empires are at war. In this case, the goat, which is Alexander the Great, overpowers the ram, which represents the Medo-Persian Empire. It was Cyrus II the Great who would take control of Babylon before the advance of Alexander the Great. Cyrus II ruled a combined kingdom of Medes and the Persians. It would be this kingdom that would be conquered by the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great. As with all nations of the beast, it finally met its destruction because of its abominations. In the last days, the devil's empire will also be called Babylon. Why? Because this last empire is but an outcrop of the old Babylon. America is made up of the same components which existed in old Babylon. The second empire, Greece. The Holy Bible, Daniel 7:5. And behold, another beast, a second, like a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. The second beast is the Greek Empire. And it is the kingdom mentioned in Daniel 2:39 as another kingdom inferior to thee. For it could not compare to the Babylonian Empire in power, strength, or glory. The Holy Bible, Revelation 4:7, and the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast a calf, and the third beast had a face as a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. The Persian Empire is in part responsible for the existence of the kingdom of Greece. Today, Persia is Iran. The word Persia means cutting, cleaving, dividing, cloven-hooved. The calf is also cloven-hooved, is a cloven-hooved beast of burden. The fact that the calf symbolizes Greece. Again, this explains the nature of its rising from a split excuse me, from a split occurring in a preceding empire. And this is a major reason for Greece being considered as an inferior kingdom. This beast is also represented by the red horse, whose rider is Alexander the Great. The Holy Bible, Revelation 6:3 and 4. And when he opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. The Noble Quran 1883. And they ask you about the possessor of the 2 horns, Al-Qarnayn, Alexander the Great. He said, I shall recite to you all about him from remembering. The Noble Quran describes Alexander the Great as Al-Qarnayn, which literally means he of the two horns. The word korn means a horn, also a generation or century. The two horns of the ram are referring to the kingdoms of Medo and Persia, which were governed by Alexander the Great. The prophet Daniel envisioned him as a ram with two horns that was so powerful that he got what he wanted, and no man or country could conquer him. Daniel 8:3-4. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westwards and northwards and southwards, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great, unquote. Notice that the vision Daniel had of Alexander the Great was that of a ram. A ram in Aramaic Hebrew is ayil, Ezekiel 43:25, and in Aramaic Hebrew it is dekar. The Aramaic Hebrew term is sometimes used as a symbol of a leader or a mighty man according to the Seventh-day Adventist Bible Dictionary. According to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, the Hebrew word ayil or ayil is applied to the ram because of its twisted horns as an emblem that represents evil or the devil. The inverted five-pointed star is the shape of the ram's head and therefore used in satanic worship. The ram's head or the five-pointed star is also a symbol of fear and destruction. With his two horns, Alexander the Great thrusted himself into countries around the world and conquered its people. Pushing westwards, Alexander the Great conquered more territory than his predecessor Cyrus. Alexander made a Persian empire extended from India to Ethiopia. A frequent title of this Greek ruler was King of Kings and King of Countries. It was Alexander the Great who was responsible for spreading Greek culture and civilization from Asia to Egypt. Do you understand? This is how and when the Canaanite Caucasian beast man became rulers of all the countries. He took them by bloodshed. He invaded the Babylonian Empire and defeated much of the Persian cavalry, which was 4 times the size of his army. After this conquest, he freed cities from Persian rule, making them his allies. The ancient Babylonians from Shinar, cities of Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, were black Negroid. The original drawings from this Babylonian empire were of Negroids. After Nimrod ruled them, they mixed their seed with the Greeks and other Amorite Caucasian tribes. They were called Babylonians. Thus, the drawings of the second Babylon were all made to look white. Yet Alexander the Great quest for world leadership did not end there. In his search for the limits of the earth, he conquered more land, stretching his empire east into India. Every country in the ancient East fell before him. Like Nimrod, Alexander the Great became so bold as to deem himself equal with the creator of all things. By torment, much mischief and confusion, the Greek Empire and its influence spread throughout the earth. Daniel 8:8 predicted that Alexander the Great would fall when his empire was at its peak of power. At age 32 years of age, Alexander the Great died 323 BC. The Greek Empire became divided into 4 kingdoms: Macedonia, Pergamum, Seleucid, and Ptolemaic. Because of this division, it is symbolically represented as a calf, cloven hooved, splitting the hooves, burden of beast, a beast of burden, in Revelation 4:7. Greece experienced more splits in its 2 existing factions, which yielded 4 kingdoms: Macedonia, which is Greek, and the neighboring countries, governed by Cassander; Pergamum, Asia Minor, governed by Lysimachus; Seleucids, Syria and Babylon, governed by Seleucus; and Ptolemaic, Egypt, governed by Ptolemy. If you take a look at Daniel 8:20 through 22, it states, and I quote, "The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Medo and Persia, and the rough goat is the king of Gracia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king." Now, that being broken, whereas 4 kingdoms did exist as a result of Alexander the Great's strategic, now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. All these kingdoms did not exist as a result of Alexander the Great's strategic military plans or intentions. It was by the divine will and the power of the Creator Anu that they existed. That is what the last statement in the verse means, but not in his power. The Holy Bible, Colossians 1:16 and 17 states, "For by him all things were created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist." The Greek Empire was to fall in the hands of the Romans. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the very name Rome was a Greek word which meant brute force. Although the Romans conquered the Greeks, they maintained and adopted much of the Greek culture. Only in areas of law did Greece show little influence on Rome. I want to leave you on this subject and with this thought for one of the self-proclaimed apostles, Paulus, who is called Paul, whose real name is Saul. He mentioned that there's different orders of things. Let things be done decently and in order. Then the first scripture says, all flesh is not the same. This is clear proof that there are distinctions between them and us. The master deception he uses to encourage racial integration is found in the book of Acts, the 17th degree, the 26th verse, where the self-proclaimed apostle Paulus proclaims, "And hath made one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed, and the bounds of their habitations, and have made of one blood all nations of men to dwell on all the face of the earth." They have determined the time before appointed, and the bounds of their habitations, without explaining. Before man and woman of all races, Negroid, Mongoloid, and Caucasoid, they all come from one blood, blood of the newborn or the negroid, why are there so many diverse types of blood mixing, which created others? Although Cadmon or Adam is the father of the Adamites, we must acknowledge that there are various blood types and similarly various blood diseases. Blood is the essential red fluid that is pumped by the heart through the circulatory system of humans and all higher animals. It is complex in its composition and its functions. Blood has two main constituents. The cells or corpuscles comprise 45% and the liquid portion of plasma, in which the cells are suspended, comprises 55%. The blood cells comprise three main types: red blood cells or erythrocytes, white blood cells or leukocytes, which in turn are of many different types, and platelets or thrombocytes. Each type of cell has its own individual function in the body. The plasma is a complex, colorless solution, about 90% water, that carries ions and molecules including protein, enzymes, hormones, nutrients, waste materials such as urea, and fibrinogen, the protein that aids in clotting. For disease, the blood originally mutated into a distinct blood type, such as Rh blood. The Rh factor is an antigen whose name is derived from the rhesus monkey, on whose red blood cells it was first discovered. Later found in humans, the Rh factor, along with other blood antigens, must be taken into account in blood transfusions. Blood from an Rh positive donor will cause an Rh negative recipient to produce antibodies against the Rh factor. The antibodies will cause a hemolytic transfusion reaction if the recipient again receives Rh positive blood. The hemolytic reaction destroys the donated blood cells. The Rh negative blood is anti-human and carnivorous because it eats up the Rh positive blood. If a pregnant woman is pregnant and has Rh negative blood, she could endanger the life of her unborn child. These types of blood do exist. Find out about Alexander S. Wiener. He is the immunologist